Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Savannah and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to make this pair of frilly crochet shorts. These shorts have been highly requested as a tutorial as I showed them on my tutorial where I made my striped shorts. So this video is definitely beginner friendly. I'll be going through it step by step to make sure you understand it, and I recommend you knowing the basic stitches, and once you know that, you're ready to make these pair of shorts. Let's get on to the video. So for these pair of shorts I'm going to be using 3 balls of yarn which are all 50 grams, so I'm going to be using 150 grams of yarn in total. This is from Sustreme Green and it's in size 3mm, and my hook is a 4mm crochet hook, and then you'll also need a pair of scissors. So I've just slip knotted onto my hook. Now we're going to be making the waistband of the shorts first. So we're going to make a long waistband, tie that together so we have a circle, and then we're going to crochet down so we have the bottom part of the shorts and then separate the legs off. So we're going to chain an amount depending on how thick you want your waistband to be. So I'm going to be chaining 6. And then I'm going to chain 1 more as we'll miss this stitch when we come back this way. So I've chained 7. Into this second stitch I'm going to be doing a single crochet, and then I'm going to be single crocheting down here. So in this stitch I'm going to be doing a single crochet, and then in the next stitch I'm going to be doing a single crochet, and I'm going to single crochet into 6 stitches in this row. So once I've single crocheted into all of them stitches, I'm going to chain 1 and flip my work. So now we're working along this side, and then for the next bit we're going to try and create a ridge pattern for this waistband. So we're only going to do a single crochet into this back loop, and we're going to do a single crochet into there. So the back loop is this one here, so I'm going to insert my hook and then pull through and do a single crochet. You want to keep this tension quite tight and just single crocheting into the back loop. So we're going to be alternating from using the back loop to using both loops like normal. So here you can see we've created a ridge pattern. I'm going to chain 1, flip my work, and then into this first stitch I'm just going to do a normal single crochet. So we're just doing a normal single crochet all the way down. Now I'm going to chain 1, flip my work, and then we're only single crocheting into the back loop. I'm going to chain 1, flip my work, and then we're working into both loops. So we're just going to continue alternating from using the back loop to both loops to back loops, and just keep repeating this pattern until you reach the desired length that you want your waistband to be. So this project is definitely a project where you have to keep trying it on to see how it fits you. So I'm going to keep going, and once I think it's about the right length I'm going to try it on and see from there. So I've done some more rows now, and as you can see this is the ridge pattern that is being created. I'm going to keep going until it fits around my waist, and when you're trying this on make sure to pull it and then tie it round, as it's very stretchy, otherwise it will be too big if you just circle it round you like that. So guys, I've finished my waistband length. Now we're going to be joining each end up, so it doesn't matter if it's rolled in a bit at the sides because this will fix it. So we're going to slip stitch into each of these stitches and join it like this. So I'm going to insert my hook into this first stitch, wrap my yarn around and then pull through both stitches and then pull that tight, and you're going to do that for every single one. So the next two, I'm going to put my hook into both of these stitches, wrap this yarn around and then pull through both of them loops and this one here. So I'm going to do this 4 more times on each of these stitches. So once you've connected it, it should look something like that. Very seamless and you can't tell where you've joined it together. Now I'm going to be chaining 1 and then I'm going to flip my work inside out. Now we're going to insert a single crochet in each of these rounds that we did. So even including this slip stitch round, I'm going to insert my hook, pull through, work round, pull through, first single crochet, and into every round that you made, I'm going to insert a single crochet. So you could count your rows and then put that many single crochets in, but I can tell because you do 2 rows and then that's where you're repeating it again, so 2 rows, so you need 1 single crochet there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and just repeat this all the way until you reach the end. So once I reach the end of this first row, I'm just going to do one more single crochet into that row of slip stitches, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain we did. So there we are, there's our first round of a single crochet, and we're going to be working down on the legs, and try this waistband on to make sure this is the right size for you. And now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to be flipping our work again, so I'm going to flip it inside out. So we're going to be working in the round and we're going to be creating ridges for where we're going to be putting our frills later on. So I'm going to insert my hook into the back stitch and do a single crochet, and I'm going to be single crocheting into the back stitch on every single stitch in this row. So once I've reached the start of the last row, I'm just going to do a slip stitch into there. I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to flip my work inside out again. Now for this row, because my wool is really thin, I'm just going to be doing a normal round of single crochet and not making any ridges. I'm going to make ridges every 2 rows. So I'm just normally inserting my hook like a single crochet. And I'm going to go all the way around here again. So I'll meet you back once I've done this row. So I've reached the end of this row. Now I'm going to slip stitch into this first stitch And there's the second row finished. So as my yarn is very thin, it's going to take a lot more rows for me to do my shorts. I'm now going to chain 1, and on this row we're going to start increasing. So you could count how many stitches you have and then halfway do your increases, but for me I'm going to use this as a reference of where I'm going to start my increases, and then fold it, and on this side it doesn't matter which stitch, but one of these stitches I'm going to do my increases in, so it's roughly in the middle. So for this increase it's 3 single crochets. So I'm going to do 3 single crochets into this one stitch. So now that we've increased on that hip, I'm just going to single crochet like normal. So I've decided to actually do 3 rows without any ridges because my yarn is only a 3mm. But if you have a 4mm you could do 2 rows of it, or if you have a 5mm you could even just do 1 row. So it depends how far apart you want your frills to be on your shorts. So I'm just single crocheting like normal into each stitch until the next row, and then in the next row I'm going to be doing just single crochets into the back stitch. So I'm going to do my second increase on this hip when I reach a fold. So here's my first increase where I did that, and once I reach this side, one of these stitches I'm going to do an increase in. So I've chosen to do an increase in this stitch as I think it's the middle. So I'm doing 3 single crochets into there. When you've got your 3 single crochets, that is your second increase, and you're just going to continue round your work like normal, adding 1 single crochet into each stitch. So I've done my increase here at the start, single crocheted up here, increase on this side, back round, and I'm at the beginning now, and I'm just going to slip stitch into the first stitch. So into here I'm going to do a slip stitch and then chaining 1 and flipping my work. So then we're going to be working back around this way, and this is my row where I'm going to be adding the ridges. So into the back loop, and as you can see I'm past these increases now, so on the other side when I get back to here I'll do my increases then. So I'm just going to single crochet into the back stitch all along here, and my first increase on this row that I'll be doing is the one on this side. So I've nearly reached my increase on the previous row. So you always do an increase in the second stitch of your previous increase. So my second stitch is this one, and I'm going to be doing my increase in this stitch here. And then continuing like normal. So I've just reached this increase here, which is at the very end for me. So I'm going to be doing an increase into that second stitch. So I'm putting 3 single crochets into that one stitch, and this is so that the hips increase. So we want it to be our waistband and it increasing at each side. So you can see there where it almost stretches down, which is what we want it to look like for our increases. And then at the start of our work, we're just going to slip stitch into that first stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1 and flip my work again. So we're going to be working back into the round. Now, depending on how you want your work to look, you can work only into the back stitch, which will create a rigid pattern. So I'm going to be doing 3 normal single crochets, then going into the back stitch. I have made these frilly shorts just alternating each row, so back stitch every single row, which looks really nice as well. So I'm going to keep repeating this, and to know when to stop increasing, just try it on and see how it fits. If you need it bigger, you can keep increasing. You can keep going like this if you don't want to increase anymore, but just keep trying it on and make sure it fits you. So I'm going to keep going with my rows, and we're going to keep going for quite a bigger portion of this. When you want to separate on the legs, I'll be showing you how to do that. Continued with more rows, and it should look something like this. So I'm near the end of this row now. I'm just going to finish this off, and I'm going to keep on going. I've tried it on and I still need a few more rows, so I'm going to keep adding them on, and we're working until the crotch area, and then I'll be showing you how to separate the legs off. So to start my next row, I'm chaining 1, flipping my work as we're working in the round. So I turn my work inside out, and then I'm going into just the back stitch for this round. So insert into the back stitch, and remember to keep alternating between using the back stitch and using both stitches, so we can create this ridged effect. And this is how it looks after a few more rows. As you can see, these are the rows that are sticking out, and these will help us to put our frills on later. So I stopped increasing at about this row here, as when I've tried it on, this is what fitted my legs best. So I'm not increasing at all on any more rows. I'm just doing rows of single crochet. It really just depends on how it fits you, depending on what increases you do and how many different rows that you do. So guys, it's now the next day and I've managed to do more of my crochet. So I've just kept on going with the pattern that I was doing. So I did 2 rows of single crochet, and then I did 1 row in the back stitch to create this ridge pattern, and your work should look something like this. It's fine if your waistband's curling, as it will stretch out when you're wearing it. So for reference, on another pair of shorts, we are crocheting down to this area. So from there to there is what we've just created. So go ahead and count how many stitches you have. I have 100 stitches exactly. So I'm going to be doing 50 single crochets, and then I'll be starting the legs, and I'll be showing you how to separate the legs off. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 50 single crochets, and you crochet the amount of stitches you have divided by 2, and crochet up to there, and I'll get back to you. So now that I've done my 50 stitches, I'm going to be separating the legs, and I'm going to be chaining 12. So this depends on how big you want it to be. I'd say the average you can do is between 10 and 20 chains. So I'm going to be doing 12. So when you've done your chain amount, you're going to look which stitch is behind it, so make sure that your work is fully stretched out. I'm just going to insert my hook into this stitch, which was directly behind it, and I'm going to be doing a single crochet. So I've single crocheted along here, then I've chained down here, and now we're going to be working around here and doing this one leg at a time. So I'm going to be doing this one leg, then once I've done this, I'm going to cut my yarn and then restart on this side. So I'm just single crocheting along this side here, and I'm going to go all the way until we get to here. So I've done a full round of single crochet on this leg. Now once I get back to this starting chain, I'm just going to insert my hook and do a slip stitch, and then I'm going to be chaining one, turning my work round. We can't flip it inside out as we've got this piece here now. So I'm going to work backwards this way, and I'll show you how to work along these chains once I'm there. So this now is my round where I'm working in the back loop. So you still have to add your pattern of your back loop because you still want ridges on the legs, as we will be adding frills to the legs. So just single crochet all the way around this way. So now that I've reached this chain, all I'm going to do is single crochet into it like normal. Just creating single crochets using only one of the loops. So I'm going to continue to do this, and once I reach the start of my previous row, I'm going to slip stitch, chain one, and start working the other way. Remember to keep trying these on and see how long you want the shorts to be. So depending on how much leg coverage you want will be how many rows you do here. So keep sticking to your pattern where you use your back stitch and keep going, and I'll show you how to do the last 2 rows on the legs once you've completed how much coverage you want on the leg. So I've just tried these shorts on and they fit my legs how I want them to fit. So now we're going to be adding a row of frills to this bottom leg. So I've just chained one and flipped my work. I'm going to do 2 double crochets into each stitch around. So into this first stitch, I'm doing 2 double crochets. Into the next stitch, I'm doing 2 double crochets. You're just going to repeat this all the way around, so this creates a frilly texture. So once you reach the start, I'm just going to add 1 more double crochet into that stitch. Do a slip stitch into this first double crochet. Chain 1 and flip your work this way. So now I'm going to be adding 1 double crochet into each of these stitches. So on the previous row we did 2 double crochets into each stitch. Now we're just doing a double crochet into each of the stitches that we made. So I've just finished that double crochet row. Now I'm going to slip stitch into that first double crochet we did, and then chain 1, and you can go and cut your yarn and pull it tight. So this is what the frill should look like. And then we're going to reinsert our hook into this stitch and do the same for the leg thing, and then do the frill stitches. So I'll show you how to insert onto this side. I've just slip stitched onto my hook. Now I'm going to be inserting it into one of these stitches, pulling through, wrapping round, and then pulling through. So that's how we secure our hook. And then this is my round where I have to use just the back stitch. So I'm just going to go around like normal with just single crochets into the back stitch. So follow the exact same pattern as you did on this leg and copy it what you did here so you can see which rows you did, and just keep repeating this pattern. And then once you get to the part where you have to do the frills, do the exact same thing as we did on the other leg. When you get to this section, still make sure you're inserting your hook into every stitch. For me, there's only one stitch on the left, as I only used one stitch when I did my first chain row. So just try and insert your hook into every single stitch like usual. Once I reach the beginning, I'm slip stitching into my first stitch and then chaining one and turning my work back this way. So I've done the same amount of rows on this leg as I did on this leg before these double crochet rows. So I'm going to be starting these rows, and we have to double crochet into do 2 double crochets into every stitch on this row, and then 1 double crochet in the next row. So I'm doing my 2 double crochets into every stitch. Finish that double crochet row, we had to put 2 stitches in every stitch. Now I've just chained 1 and I've turned my work back to go this way. So I'm going to start by double crocheting into each stitch. So insert a double crochet into each stitch along this row. The reason we added these ridge patterns throughout our shorts was to add the frills easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch onto my hook, and pull tight, and then I'm going to insert into this ridge here, wrap around and then pull through them 2 stitches, and that's just to secure it onto here. So now I'm going to start by adding my double crochets into these loops here. So as we did here, we did 2 double crochets in 1 stitch for the first row and then 1 double crochet. For this we're going to do the inverse, so we're going to do double crochet row all the way around, and then after that 2 double crochets into each stitch. So I'm going to do my double crochet row, and keep going all the way around until you reach the start. Finish this double crochet row, and this is what it should look like. I've just chained 1 and now I'm going to be doing 2 double crochets into each stitch. So I've just slip stitched and I'm going to chain one and then cut my yarn and pull tight, and that is our first frill on our shorts. And now you can choose how spread out you want yours to be. So you could do yours straight under, but I think I'm going to do mine about here and then my next one here, so it makes them more spread out. Inserting my hook into this next stitch, and I'm going to do my double crochet row into each stitch, and then I'm going to finish this row by slip stitching, chaining one, and then doing my row of 2 double crochet into each stitch. So I've just done these 2 frills and I've done 1 row of double crochet around and then 2 double crochets into each of them stitches, and then I've cut my yarn and pulled tight. So this is what they look like, and this is them from the back. You could choose to do your frills closer together, so you could have more frills, but I'm choosing to do 3 for these shorts, as this is what I like best. So I will be selling these shorts on my Vinted, which I will leave the account name in the description box, so you can go and check them out. And I've got a few other crochet projects that I'm selling in there. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.